All right. Good morning, fabulous Sonder fam. It is Sunday morning, the last day of May. I am really not sure how we got here, but we did. For me, May went by super fast because I was sick for most of it. So I feel like I feel like I didn't have much of a May. So I'm looking forward to feeling better in June and moving into the summer. I love everyone voting for on that scale of pizza, how they are today. I think I'm probably a mellow margarita pizza. That is one of my favorite pizzas, also. But I do like the slightly sinister supreme, the cozy nerdy things on Instagram. She always has these super fun um, little on a scale of whatever we had. We've had muffins, we've had all of those things. So thank you for playing along with that. I also want to mention a couple of things. Make sure you set that chat to everyone. It has an obnoxious tendency, if you're on an iPhone or an iPad, to revert back to host and panelist. And when it does that, it's only myself and my fabulous co facilitator, Jennifer Kay, who can see what you write, which is fine if you only want us to see it. But just know that if you're asking a question and nobody's answering, it might be because you have that little blue box has flipped back. So make sure that you do that. I was also showing this, wanting to make sure everyone is aware that Mayha is going to be doing a super fun mid-year reset, aligning your goals, energy, and action, which is, I think, a perfect time after we've had things like awareness and we had integrity, and now this month we've got flow. So this is a great thing to kind of think about how we're going to reset maybe a little bit or readjust or recommit. So that's on June 16th. It is free. There's no charge for this exclusive this time, and I will be in the chat for that one. So hopefully you all sign up. If you can't make it at that time, but you sign up, you will get an email with the link. So you can watch it later. Just know the chat won't be there, just kind of like with these socials that we record. But still, it will be fun. So hopefully I will see you there. So, just a few community guidelines, making sure this is a safe and supportive space. We want to make sure that you're kind and courteous to both yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy, no hate speech or bullying, limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. We try to kind of stay focused on our topic that whatever we're working on, but it's okay to ask about, like, oh, what pens do you use that don't bleed through? Or, oh my gosh, where did you get those amazing stickers? But honestly, the best place to ask those questions is in Sonder Club app, because then folks can post pictures, they can post links. It's much easier to do it that way. Because I will be honest, the chat gets rolling pretty fast. We usually have upwards of 100 people here, and so sometimes it really gets to scrolling, and it's like you might miss something. So, and then any of those customer care inquiries go to our team, hello@silkandsonder.com. Jennifer and I do not have access to your account. We can't fix things like mailing address or billing address or updating your credit card expiration date. That's always when I like to remind people, remember, when you get that new credit card with the new expiration date, you want to make sure to contact all those places that you have on auto payment, because they'll stop working, and then you'll get those payment denied, and then you'll freak out and think something's wrong with your card. And oftentimes it's just because you got the new one with the new expiration date. And then ultimately, remember that these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have such a fabulous, supportive, creative, wonderful, brilliant community here, but ultimately you're responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything going on, we're working on something, it's just not your jam, you're just not feeling it, do whatever you need to do for you, right? This is your time. And keep in mind, this is a monthly setup. The monthly setups are a little bit longer. They're an hour and 15 minutes instead of just the typical hour, but it still goes by super fast. So just know, if you have to pop out, if you're like, oh, I've got to run, I've got a brunch date, whatever, like, do what you need to do, right? Again, this is your time. And then also wanted to say, celebrating any birthdays or anniversaries. June is my birthday month. So I personally think it's the best birthday month, because it's right 6 months after Christmas, before Christmas. So you don't get those double gifts. Oh, excellent. Janie, June 11th. Mine's June 18th. So I'm still a Gemini. So we've got Geminis and we've got the Cancers will also start. So I have a sister who's June 22nd, and she goes into that. So up June 28th, I think. Yeah. So Michelle, you're probably a Cancer. Rochelle's the 27th. Wednesday the 3rd. Stephanie, yay! Happy birthday! It's coming right up, June 4th. Um, Love it. Yes. Yeah, Molly, right. It's the perfect birthday because you don't have the Christmas double up kind of thing there. Oh, doggy's birthday on June 25th. Happy birthday, Maggie, to your doggy. And also any anniversaries, right? It is one of the most popular wedding months. My first marriage was in June, but that didn't work out so well. So, but this will be 25 years with the second. So I think it worked out much, much better. But our wedding anniversary is in September. So anyway, so happy anniversary, happy birthdays to everyone. Um, Diving into June, which I know a lot of you said, like, I cannot believe it is June already, but yes, here we are. And here we are with the idea of our month's theme is flow. And I think that's a lovely idea with thinking about, oh, Nicole, you're so sweet. No, I am. In June, I turned 57. So yes, I got married the first time right after I turned 21. So anyway, thank you. I credit it to genetics. My mom looks great too, and she's 81 and she doesn't look like she's in her 80s. So, but this theme of flow is so great, especially as a psychology major. My undergrad minor was in psychology. Both my master's and my PhD are in educational psychology, and we talked a lot about this idea of flow state and what flow state is and how to get into that and how productive it is and how oftentimes, as the person who coined and did all the studying of flow state in the 90s, let me see if I can pronounce his name. I had to write it down. So his name is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, is how you say his name. I believe. I'm not 100% sure I'm putting the right emphasis on the right syllable there, but we'll just call him MC for short. He did all that work with the idea of flow, and he talks about how the happiest people spend much of their time in the state of flow, the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. And honestly, I feel like that's one of the reasons why these socials go so fast is we all get into that state of flow. We're having fun talking about our journal. We're talking about how we're going to set things up. We're writing our journal prompts, and that time just flies by. On the treadmill or the stationary bike or whatever, an hour can feel like 1,000 hours, right? Because we're not in a state of flow. We're not in that place we need to be. And then I also thought, a lot of times creativity, painting, um, uh, knitting, all those kinds of things also really will create that state of flow. And this quote from Pablo Picasso that says, the meaning of life is to find your gift, and the purpose of life is to give it away. And I thought that was a lovely a lovely thing to kind of think about this month with that state of flow music, right? People who, playing instruments. And some people might say that physical activity, maybe like, playing soccer or baseball or whatever they're kind of into, gets them into that state of flow because it just it lets their mind be free and lets them really kind of be involved and being present, right? We talk about that a lot. We talk a lot about this idea of being present. And then the other quote says, when you release yourself to the flow, thoughts slip away, magic happens, time stands still, and creativity dances freely. And I love that idea of creativity dancing freely. So we are going to dive into that this month. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Meha's letter on page 2. I always remind folks that, and this is the first thing, when I get my journal, the first thing I do is I open it up and I turn right to Meha's letter and I read what she is thinking when she thought of this theme, right? It's always so kind of fun to think about what that looks like. So thinking, I kind of pulled out a few quotes there about forget time, forget doubt, and just do it. It's a feeling of being fully alive in what you're doing, being present in your body, grounded and electric. Stop gripping so tightly. Sometimes we grip so tightly to kind of what we have or whatever, like we get stuck with that. Action is the antidote. I think that is so important as well. And where do I feel most energized, even if it doesn't make sense, right? So, and I saw in the chat folks talking about the pen pal list. I am not going to update it to add birthdays. I just don't have the bandwidth to update things and get those things. But you know what you can do? You can send a letter to your pen pal and you can say, hey, my birthday is this day. When is your birthday? And then they can respond back. And then you can make a little tracker for yourself of the people that you're chatting to with the birthdays. So you can do that. And you can also ask them other things too, right? So I think that is a great way to think about it's an opener, right? And you could even do that on a postcard. Hey, my birthday is June 18th. When's yours? And then they can respond back. So you can kind of that'll get you mailing back and forth there. So let's dive into our agenda. We have the monthly acrostic poem, and I have some alternatives if you're not a huge fan of the monthly acrostic. Oh, yeah, and Jennifer is reminding us we can update our profiles in Sonder Club to have birthdays in there. So that's a great idea as well. Love that. We're going to do some reflections on the month of May. We're going to set our June intentions. We are going to work on our mood tracker, and we are going to work on our habit tracker. So if you've been with me for a while, I always use these two cartoons to illustrate a few points. First of all, there's room for you here just as you are. If everything's going great, you want to share, you want to celebrate some things, really wanting to be excited and share things. We love that. And we know that life is kind of that series of ups and downs. So sometimes we've had illness, we've had job loss, we've lost a loved one, different kinds of things are happening. And it's okay to share those too. So don't ever feel like you have to be a different person here when you're in the socials. You have to only say positive things in the chat, right? We just want to make sure that you're kind to yourself and to others, but you can share when things are rough. And sometimes it's just really nice to hear that other folks are going through similar things as well. Then also, the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So remember that no one can tell us that we should be happy about something or we shouldn't be mad about something. We have to Our feelings are our feelings. So Mary Ellen, the pen pal thing is something that I do personally. It's not official. Silk and Sonder, the Silk and Sonder headquarters can't help you with it. We can pop a link in there. You sign up for it, and then you have to give me a little bit of time so I can go and I'll send you out an email. You'll get a list to a Google Sheet, that kind of thing. So I'll pop that in the chat here, or Jen K can pop that in the chat here. And there she goes. You just fill out that form, and we'll send you some more information on that. But please remember, first of all, your address is going to go out to everybody who's on that list, right? And headquarters can't help you with it. So if there's anything going on, just let me know, and I can take care of it, right? So it is very fun. People are definitely enjoying sending letters back and forth and stickers and all those things. So it is super, super fun to do. So I love it if you're interested. And you can also, if you decide at some point down the road, like, okay, I don't have time to really, kind of do this, and you can let me know, like, hey, can you take my name off? The other thing I do want to point out, speaking of pen pal, I've seen some people in Sonder Club talking about they feel guilty because they haven't had time to respond to pen pals, or they feel guilty because they haven't sent enough. No, this is for fun. There are no rules. If you don't respond to anyone who sends you a letter, that is okay. I do not want this to be a source of guilt. I do not want this to be a source of stress. I do not want this to be frustrating. And if it becomes that, it will go away. I was telling Jennifer K, I'm like, don't make me take it away from you, right? Like, this is for fun. Don't make it a burden, right? It's just for fun, right? So maybe you get lots of letters one month, you don't have a chance to send any letters out. That's okay. It's okay. And don't get grumpy if you're not getting any letters, right? People are kind of doing things on their own. It's just a for fun thing. So yes, I'm glad it makes you, please don't let anything with Silk and Sonder be a burden and the thing you have to force yourself to do. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm behind and I have to catch up. And like, I see people with the affirmations and they're like, oh my gosh, I missed the last 3 days of affirmations. I need to write. You don't need to write them down. You don't need, those days are past. We're going to live in the now. We're going to move forward. This is all supposed to be good and help us. So don't make it a bad thing, right? Keep it fun, keep it happy. So speaking of flow, right? You might find yourself in a state of flow as you're writing letters, right, to people. So we're going to do this acrostic poem. And the nice thing is there's only 4 letters here, right? So it can be super quick. You can do that little acrostic poem. So maybe you want to free associate some words or phrases that make you think of this idea of flow. It could be sentences, it could be a word, it could be sets of words. So just, and this is not in your journal, right? This is not in your journal this time. It was last month. It's not there. It's not always there. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. So you can just kind of make a thing. So I like to use the notes page if there's enough spaces, which obviously there is. That little notes section, it's on the very first page on the table of contents. And honestly, I just use some silly words this time for my flow. So I have the flibberty gibbet, lollygagging, onomatopoeia, and whangdoodle, right? Which I thought were kind of fun little, because to me, flow is also about having fun. It's about play. It's about being silly. It's just that feeling of happiness that kind of keeps you moving on. So that's my little acrostic poem there. Here's some other examples of things with full sentences. So things like freely moving with the tide, letting all your cares subside, open to the present space, walking with a gentle grace, right? You can make it rhyme, make it full text. Maybe the word flow doesn't quite do it for you. So maybe it's the word cascade or groove. That's why I played Into the Groove this morning, right? Getting into the groove is that getting into that flow state. Maybe it's continuity. Maybe it's smooth. Maybe it's rhythm, finding the rhythm of life, finding a rhythm that works for you. Maybe it's finding new harmony where love resides, leaving behind what no longer serves, overcoming fears, embracing new curves, welcoming the journey, the flow is alive. And I thought this picture was just really, really pretty. Let go, be with the flow, and just this really pretty kind of swirl. So I like that. So we have a couple folks that have shared theirs in Sonder Club. So things like fighting against myself and letting my anxiety win, opening myself to the now, and where I'll take action as the antidote. And then somebody used the coloring page, which I thought was a great place to put this. So she has follow your heart, let love guide you. Only you know what's best, and watch your life bloom. So I thought that was super, super fun. So love those ideas there. If an acrostic poem just isn't your jam, you're like, yeah, it's just not kind of where I am. Maybe you want to write a note saying goodbye to May and hello to June. There's one up there in the right where someone is saying, hey, May, goodbye. You were a busy month with graduations and end of school and all these things. Like, thanks for being here. And then hello, June. I'm so ready for rest and relaxation and rejuvenation. So maybe you can write a little letter there. Maybe you want to do a haiku. Maybe you want, instead of to flow, you want to do an acrostic poem for Hello June. Joy finds you when you understand your value and nourish your need, even when it feels hard. Maybe you just want to work on your definition. This is Jennifer O's definition for flow. She says, to me, flow means getting lost doing something I love, losing track of time when I'm with people I love, and living the quote, not all who wander are lost. So lots of different options for different things that you want to do. If none of that is quite hitting your fancy there, a lot of people will say, what can I do with page 5 with that calendar? I never use it. It's like this blank space. So maybe you want to do something you want to find ordinary and happy. Has lots of different calendars that they have. So here's one. It's a vacation themed June doodling challenge. So maybe in each little box, you want to do a little doodle. The first is a coconut with a straw. The second is an airplane. Maybe you want to do little doodles on each of those days. So I've given you lots of ideas for things to do. I will play a little bit of music to let you work on that. And I will cycle through the slides so you can get that information. And then we'll check back in and we'll keep moving on. All right, everyone. Thank you for sharing kind of what your flow poem is. A lot of folks talking about, oh my gosh, I really want to find that state of flow, but I'm super busy this month. So it might be more of a challenge, right? You might really have to carve out some time. You might have to block some time, really kind of thinking of what that looks like. I saw lots of folks taking some watercolor classes, the sip and paint kind of thing classes that are always super fun. And yeah, the other thing too is maybe some of the people you're with can help you find that state of flow, right? Remember Jennifer O's part about to me flow means all of this, losing track of time when I'm with the people I love, right? So, can you do some flow type activities? Are there some things you can all do together? Ways you can all be with yourself. Part of that probably is going to involve putting away your phone. Um, you are not going to get in flow state with your phone. I'm just telling you right now, scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through Facebook, scrolling through any of those things is not going to put you in a flow state. It's going to constantly be hitting that quick dopamine. Your brain's going to be firing, wanting more, more, more. It's not going to feel flow state. Yes, you do lose track of time. However, it's usually not in a good way, right? So yeah, playing games. Of course, when my sisters and I get together and play Uno, it amuses everyone who watches because we're a little competitive when it gets to Uno and gets a little crazy. So, but yeah, that can be totally fun. But yes, maybe your idea of putting away the phone is going to be how you find flow state, right? Maybe just completely turning it off, putting it in another room. So let us reflect on May. We are going to think about those wins, those challenges, those favorite moments, and then what we want to start, stop, and continue. So this is over on page 8 in our journal. We do this every month. And I am happy to share Jennifer Kay actually is in Colorado Springs this week. And so, yeah, and I'm in Denver. Well, technically Aurora. So we got to get together for brunch yesterday, which was super, super, so fun because we have not, I mean, we've worked together for 5 years virtually and have not physically met. So it was awesome. We had brunch. My husband was there. Afterwards, he was like, she's so nice. It was just so fun. And then went shopping over at the outlet malls. So it was so fun. So it's always so fun to see people. Yeah, talk about a state of flow. I don't know how long we were at the restaurant, but we were there a long time chatting and sipping on our tea and sipping on our coffee. So yeah, if there's ever a time to get together with a friend, I think that's always the best. So that definitely was one of my May favorite moments for sure. Our wins are those things that we did, maybe something that made you smile. So sometimes your wins and your favorite moments are the same. So that's okay, right? Maybe it's an accomplishment. Oftentimes I will list what knitting projects I finished, or if I finished some painting, or if I maybe sent some letters to folks, kind of just those different kind of wins. For me, one of my big May wins was getting better and letting myself be sick, letting myself sit in a chair, drink some, like a hot beverage and relax. Usually when I'm sick, I just take a ton of cold medicine and just push through. And this time I was like, no, I'm going to take the medicine, but I'm actually going to let myself rest. I'm going to let myself get better. So I probably would still be sick if I would have pushed through. So I feel like that's a big win. Our challenges are those things that didn't go right. Maybe it's something that's out of our control. Maybe it's a stumbling block or a frustration. Yeah, April says, let yourself have a man cold. Yeah, my husband got this first, and you can imagine how fun that was. And then he gave it to me. But yeah, I kind of did I'm just going to sit here and be miserable, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I'm not just going to push through. So you could always look back at your rosebud thorns from the month if you have a May journal. If you're new, that's okay, right? Just remember that when you do those weekly rosebud thorns, they're really good to look back at when you're doing your reflection on the month. I also will scroll through my phone through the camera roll. And this serves two purposes. One, to remind me of things that I did. Two, to delete photos that I don't need anymore or store them somewhere else so that my phone does not become the graveyard of digital pictures, right? Oh, Ellen, congratulations. Your 1 year anniversary with Silk and Sonder. Yay. If you have, one of the things that's kind of fun is to look at when you've been in Silk and Sonder for a while, go back to June of 2025, go back to June of 2024, and kind of take a look and see what kinds of things you were, what that looks like. And then, so wins, challenges, and favorite moments, and then start, stop, and continue. So you want to start maybe some things that aren't being done that you want to do. Maybe there are things you want to do to get a better result. Maybe there are things you want to try or experiment with. I will also suggest if you don't want to start anything new, right? You really want to build some consistency with the things that you've been doing. You really want to focus on some other things. Just cross that box out, right? Put some stickers in there and leave the start alone. This month, you're not going to start anything, right? You're just going to stop some things and continue some other things. So we're going to stop those things that aren't working, things that are impeding our progress, things that aren't practical, things that we don't like, things that no longer serve us. And we're going to continue the things that are working well, things we want to keep. We want to keep doing to see if they're worthwhile. Maybe it's things you like and you need. So here's some examples of things that folks have done for the start, stop, and continue. They want to start simple and small steps forward. They want to stop procrastination, stop delaying things, and then continue honest expectations and realistic changes. The one at the bottom is really good because they say what they want to start, stop, and continue, and then they say why. They want to start a creative project because they love having something casual and fun to work on. Ellen's going to continue cleaning and decluttering her house. I feel like that is just a never-ending it's just a never-ending battle sometimes. Someday I will clean my office, but I don't know when that would be. Honestly, sometimes I feel like just scooping it all up and putting it in a box and stuffing it far away because I don't know that I would actually miss any of this stuff. And that's one of the things sometimes decluttering folks will suggest is box up the stuff, put it in the garage, like you ignore it and just ignore it. And then if you really need something after a month, if you haven't even had to get into it, then you can probably just toss it. Anyway, so then they also want to stop second guessing themselves at work. Why? Because I'm well educated, well trained, very capable. My inner critic is just loud. And then they want to continue building up my morning routine. Why? It feels great to be dependable and not rush into work late. I love the why part, right? Because we can put things in there, but it's like, why? Why do we want to do this? And then we can go back to that and revisit that why, and that will help propel things further. One person wants to start exercising with no excuses allowed. They want to stop getting lost in their phone. They want to continue writing things down. What gets measured gets done, right? So again, lots of different ideas with this. And then, I went to my Hello June. We'll go back and forth with these. Feel free to share any of those wins. I know folks are already sharing in the chat. Christina, one of her wins was having a garage sale. Yay. Marsha's going to commit to healthier choices. What else do we have? Let's see, I was looking. Yeah, somebody says clutter is like fitness. It never ends. Yeah, it's one of those. I'm always like, I went to the gym 3 times. How many more times do I have to do this? So the other big key with clutter is to not bring new things in, which can be really hard because I keep saying I don't need more new shoes. And then yesterday I found this super cute pair of Converse that were blue and had little embroidered flowers. And I got them because I am a sucker for Converse shoes. And I didn't have any that were blue. And I certainly didn't have any that were embroidered. So I needed those, right? Probably not. So again, I'm going to play some music. I will let you work on this section and then we'll check back in and keep moving on. right. Well, thank you for sharing in the chat those wins, those challenges, those favorite moments, and then also what you want to start, stop, and continue. And I saw lots of folks wanting to do some decluttering this month. And so talking about there's like a decluttering challenge where it's like on the first day, you get rid of one thing. On the second day, you get rid of two things. On the third day, you get rid of three, and so on and so on, um, until you're, on the 30th, you're getting rid of 30 things. So that's always a way to do it. Sometimes it's maybe focusing on a room a week where you really want to focus and kind of dig in. So, and I know that it's just, sometimes I get frustrated because I want to start the decluttering process and I start going through my pile of junk and then I start like, I don't know what to do with this. And then it's like, oh, never mind, I'm done. So definitely keep working on that. A lot of folks wanting to stop the scrolling, stop picking up the phone first thing in the morning. Yes, they recommend waiting at least 30 minutes to pick up the phone. There's a lot of things you can do. One of them is most phones have a way to set like a nighttime routine. So for example, my phone goes to grayscale after 8:30 at night. And I guarantee you it is not nearly as fun scrolling through Instagram or pictures when it's all kind of that ugly gray, and not fun. So, and then you can have it so it doesn't come back the color until a certain time. You can also put your phone in airplane mode at a certain time so that you're not tempted to do that, because then sometimes there's ways that you can set a do not disturb except for certain numbers if you need, to be available in case somebody has to call for an emergency or that kind of thing. Let's see, what are some other things? Like we don't take the phone into the bedroom. And so that there's that. And again, you can have it so it's grayscale in the morning. One person I know puts a rubber band around their phone, and so it's harder to scroll right when the rubber band stops you. So kind of putting that on there. So finding ways to do that. And yeah, most phones will tell you how much screen time you've used. I'm waiting for my little weekly report, and I'll probably be like, ugh, I spent how much time on there? You can also oftentimes set limits for different apps. So it will shut off, the app will shut off after a certain time. It won't let you, it gives you like, if you say, I want to spend 30 minutes a day on Instagram, and after you've been on 30 minutes, it just shuts that app down and won't let you go on. So lots of different ways to help try to break that habit. And it's hard, right? Because it literally is addictive, right? In our brains want that. So good luck with doing that. A lot of other folks are thinking of wanting to start up more, some fun movements, maybe doing some dancing, maybe going for more walks now that the weather's better, kind of thinking of those things. So just kind of think of that. I do know some people, were talking yesterday, in the monthly setup with Jennifer O, that they don't do their start, stop, and continue until they set their intentions. So if you haven't, like, if you're like, I don't know what to do with the start, stop, and continue, we are now going to go into our June intentions. So that's over on the next page, over on page 9. So this is also very helpful, with thinking about the start, stop, and continue. Oh yeah, and someone mentioned in the chat, Maggie mentioned, there's a physical thing, appliance called Brick that you can put on your phone that literally won't let you use it. I will say most of the research says the phone literally has to be out of sight. It can't be sitting face down. It can't be somewhere you can see it. So sometimes it's even putting it in a desk drawer, or putting it back in your purse and not looking at it. So lots of different ways to help us not use our phone. Which honestly, why do we even call it a phone anymore? It's like our little pocket computer, because I hardly ever talk to anybody on it. I text, but I'm usually looking things up or doing things on a social app. So yeah. So, but these intentions, some tips and tricks to think about as you set these intentions are using that theme of flow to set the intentions. Maybe you want to focus on one area like self-love or self-talk. Maybe you want to use the name of a song or some lyrics that inspire you. Maybe you want to use quotes from a favorite author. How do you want to feel this month in each area? Maybe you just want to pop some stickers in here or some colors or some images in each of these sections. Maybe you want to have one thing you want to let go of or one thing you want to start doing in each of these little boxes. And we give you 6 ideas of areas of your life to set these intentions, right? You are not stuck with these. You can always cross them out and make each area something new. So you can see there's some different ideas, like with spiritual health. I've seen people change it to maybe like mental health. Some people do like heart health or brain health, time management, home management, Under professional goals, some folks are retired or don't work outside the home. So they have things like learning goals or creative goals, gardening goals, vacation goals. Maybe they're key relationships. You could have things like family relationships, work relationships, community, volunteering, those kinds of things. And then with personal life, you could also have creative life, home life, crafting life, those kinds of things. And remember, this isn't really making a to-do list in these boxes, right? This really is more of this idea of asking something of yourself and giving yourself the strength to do it. And then I also have June is a very popular national month of. So it's National Safety Month. It's, of course, Pride Month. We've got National Zoo and Aquarium Month, Audiobook Appreciation Month. And I firmly believe listening to audiobooks still counts as reading. I will die on that hill. Still counts. It's also Alzheimer's Awareness Month, National Candy Month, National Migraine and Headache Awareness Month. Yes, I'm so glad a lot of you are agreeing with me. I've had people sometimes say like it doesn't count, and I'm just like, I don't need that kind of negativity in my life. So lots of different ideas for ways you could maybe kind of frame these intentions. Also keep in mind that you do not have to set 6 different areas of intention. Again, maybe you want to focus on one particular area this month. Here's some examples of some things that folks did when our June theme was Thrive. I think this was a couple years ago. I can't remember which June this was, but so they incorporated they incorporated the theme into their intentions. So they said things like, to thrive, I will work on boundaries in personal life, right? So you could also think of that if you have flow, maybe in your personal life for flow, you will allow yourself to just be, to live in the moment. You will allow yourself, you will get into the state of flow by taking some painting classes or immersing yourself reading a book in the park, those kinds of things. Again, both of these people had this idea of how they will thrive in each area. And you can see they changed, one person changed the professional goals to creative life. They also changed the personal life to home life. The other one changed the professional goals to home. Mental health, again, different ideas there. And then one person for this month in June, she is going to be traveling a lot. So she really kind of wanted to chunk her month into 3 distinct sections. So she's got, here's my intentions for the first 10 days, reduce feelings of anxiety, reduce TV phone use, and enjoy the journey. And then she has the other space, she's got the outcomes, right? Like, what did that look like for the month? Then the next 10 days, she has be a positive light, make self-care a priority, be present, reduce the clutter, increase activity, make business a priority. So that's a fun way to kind of switch this up and change things. And then the other person over on the right, they have a give and take, right, for each one. So for personal life, they're going to take time for my own healing, but also give support to others. So I think that's a fun way to kind of talk about a give and take, like what that looks like. Professional goals, take responsibility for my tasks, but also give others accountability for theirs. I think those are really amazing. That's kind of a fun way to frame it, right? It's really the give and take piece. I think that's really, really smart. That actually was in Sonder Club, Ellen. All of these came from Sonder Club at one point or another. So those are in there. And then I like the idea that my goal is to build a life I don't need a vacation from, right? So maybe that's some things that you're going to do with your intentions. Maybe you do some fun little doodles. Maybe as you're working on this, you do little sticky notes because you're not quite ready to commit. So you put a little sticky note for each one as you're kind of thinking of what that looks like. Some people will fill out a couple at the beginning of the month, and then they'll do a couple like mid-month, kind of thinking of that. So there's some other ways to kind of do those intentions. Oops, I went a little too far. So I am going to be quiet. I'm going to let you set your intentions. I'll cycle through these so that you can see them and you can take screenshots so that you can remember what was on there. And then we will check back in and we'll keep going. All right. So thank you for sharing those intentions, things that you're kind of thinking of. And I appreciate a few folks were like, I'm not really like, I don't really know what my intentions are. I haven't really decided yet. I kind of need to look at the calendar, see kind of what's going on this month. I need a little bit of time to think about it. So again, right, this is a great place for sticky notes, just kind of jotting down some ideas where I think what I think might work. And maybe also when we get into these next trackers, those might kind of inspire some ideas for things that you want to put in the intentions too. So thank you again, everyone, for sharing. And let's go on to those next two pages, our trackers, our mood tracker and our habit tracker. So I really like a lot of times using these different pictures, kind of like my pizza picture in the beginning, like which pizza on a scale of pizza, which one are you? There's lots of those out there on the internet to find, and those can be really helpful sometimes for mood tracker if you want to print out one of these little kind of which whatever are you today, and then you can rate each one for the day. There's a fun little which Taylor Swift are you today. You can kind of figure out like where you are. I definitely let's see, we got 7. We've got 5. I like 5. We got 4. Oh no, not 4. We got 8. Yeah, I think I'm definitely I feel like I'm an 8 today, at least right now, right? So these are always kind of fun to have sometimes to kind of help. And these are really good if you ever do like a meeting. These are good kind of little icebreakers to have these kind of things to kind of get to gauge the crowd, kind of like, where is everybody on the scale? Where are you? So this is definitely a fun one. So we like to use this mood tracker to maybe understand some trends and how we're feeling, notice and begin to make shifts, and then bring tools into what works when those positive moods or those moods that we want more of, we can help make sure that those show up. So you probably have noticed we have some months as hexagons, some months as the circles. So we have team hexagon. We have a lot of people who like the hexagons, and then we have a lot of people who prefer the circles. Just know that sometimes they change. Usually what they do is the hexagons are for the 30-day months and the circles are for the 31-day months. But every once in a while that changes up too. So just know, deep breath. Yeah, Brenda's team hexagon. So yay, June is a hexagon month. It just makes it a little bit different for how you're tracking, I think, sometimes, and what that looks like. So for some people, it's a little tough to kind of do that. Yeah, Marissa says, I'm team I don't care, which is great. So sometimes we can choose 2 or 3 negative feelings, 1 neutral feeling, 2 or 3 positive feelings. Maybe we want to focus on that theme of flow. Maybe we want to log every emotion that comes up that day or fill in whatever emotion was strongest. Yes, we can just go with the flow, right? For whichever one we have. We have those stickers, colored pencils, doodles, a pen to kind of create our key, what that looks like. We've got the feelings wheel here. I always tell people to like take a picture of this, grab a screenshot of this feelings wheel. You can also Google feelings wheel and find lots of different kinds of feeling wheel that you can use if you want some different words, right? Or things that are a little more descriptive. Like you can say if you're feeling joy, but maybe instead of tracking joy, you're tracking when you're cheerful or when you're enthralled or when you're feeling hopeful, right? So different ways, different levels of intensity with those feelings and those moods. I also have a fun one with the Inside Out folks with kind of a list of like the fear, anger, joy, and sadness. So lots of different words. Jennifer is also popping in the little link in there to our blog post that has this that tracker, that wheel in there if you want to take a look at that. Again, these are some lots of words I like. Goofy, maybe you want to track how if you had a goofy mood that day. And then some people like to repurpose this. Not everybody wants to track their moods. It really kind of depends on what you need for the month. Some months I've worked on tracking moods, and some months I track other things. So you can track things like your anxiety level, depression levels, energy levels on a scale of 1 to 6, how you're feeling, angry, tired, joyous. It could be a rate the day, right? With 1 being the horrible, awful day, and 6 being absolutely wonderful, best day ever. So different ways to kind of keep track of that. So last month, mine on the right, I was tracking like balance between creating and consuming. And you can see I didn't get any further than the 7th. And because it felt a little onerous when I actually started trying to use the stickers and track it. So I was still thinking of it. It still was kind of in my mind, but I just didn't necessarily track it with the stickers because I realized oftentimes in one day I'm doing multiple things. So, but my goal, my intention was to create more than I was consuming. So I did kind of keep that in the back of my mind all month. And then of course I got sick and then didn't really I don't know how that went with the creating and consuming there. So this month I thought, since we've been talking a lot about consistency, and I had that little meme that I've used in some of my socials where it says, this isn't real consistency, this is real consistency. So kind of looking at different levels. So I thought maybe I would track more of my consistency with my health habits. Right. And so things like, did I get a walk in? Did I go outside? Did I take my vitamins? Did I, kind of what that consistency looks like? And then it could be just kind of those different levels. Except as I was thinking, I was like, oh, there's 6. And so I kind of wanted it to be a progression, but then I realized I didn't have one that was just like a tiny bit. And then I put 1 for oops, right? Oops, I wasn't very consistent with any of those things today, right? Kind of this is what that looked like. So kind of keeping that idea of consistency, and consistency doesn't mean you're 100% giving it every day, right? It can look a little bit different. So we'll see how that goes. I will be honest, I get very bad about tracking. I will track for, like you can see, 7 days or maybe 15 days, and then I kind of forget. So I have to remind myself. So here's some other examples. The one on the top right, they're tracking anxiety levels. So they have things like panic attack, heavy, frequent, moderate, light, or none. This is really helpful, especially if you're working with a therapist, to be able to bring this kind of data into them so they can really kind of see what's happening. And then you can also really kind of look and see maybe what was going on in that area. Some people use it for a book tracker. We can use it for, I like the idea, some of them are tracking emotions and energy levels. So sometimes tracking that energy level can be really helpful because you can see, like, maybe I had a really low energy level and I felt kind of meh, right? So really kind of thinking, looking at the relationship between the two of those. So those are some good examples. Maybe you want to do a self-care tracker. So things like I did something to care for myself emotionally, physically, social, spiritual, mental, and creative. And they have the different ideas in each one of those. And they divided that hexagon up into each a little piece of the pie. So if they did it, they can color that in. So that's a fun way to do that. Maybe you want to track your movement, your workouts. So tracking if you were doing some cardio, maybe versus some resistance training, like those kinds of things, different things to track. Again, just remember this is just a way for you to have some data, right? To look at some trends because we have a tendency to say, I'm always angry or I'm always mad or I never do this. And then if we can look at this and we track it, then that gives us kind of that little piece to take a look at. So I'm going to let you work on your mood tracker. I'll play just a little bit of music. Think about what you're going to track, what you're going to put in there. And some people don't use this really much at all. Maybe they use it to track the weather. So share with us kind of what you think you want to track this month, what you think you want to see some data on, and then we'll check back in and we'll wrap it up with our habits. Okay, thank you all for sharing ideas there in the chat. And again, if tracking like just again feels like if trying to track the moods or trying to use this page is something that's stressful, cover the page up, right? Put some fun stickers on it, or maybe again, that the rate the day I think is really helpful just because it's just kind of that overview, right? Because sometimes I feel like tracking my moods. I feel like I have a gajillion moods, and I'm like, I'm gonna have a gajillion stickers in here. Like, that's not gonna work. So maybe just that rate the day, right? It's a scale of 1 to 6, right? And then just rate the day. Or maybe it's a rate my energy for the day, my overall feeling of energy, or something like that. Something very general can be very helpful. So again, experiment, right? Find what works for you. Find what you like. You're not stuck with anything that we use. And again, it's that trends, it's that data that we're looking at, right? So yeah, Ellen says sometimes I use it to how I feel in the morning and how I feel at the end of the day. So excellent ideas. So let's go on to our habit tracker, right? And so our habit tracker helps us, again, it's some data, it's a data point, right? How often am I doing this? This is this thing. And usually the habit tracker is something that we want to do every day this month, right? We can use the weekly to set up those things that maybe we just need to do a couple times that month or that week. But this really is the idea of, here's some things. Maybe I want to start a new habit. I would not recommend coming up with, what do we have, 7 spaces? I would not recommend with trying to come up with 7 brand new habits, right? Don't do that. But maybe it's one habit that you want to do. I would also recommend, sometimes if you're kind of feeling in a funk and feeling like you're not doing a great job with some of your habits, maybe you put a habit that's already established, something that you don't really even need to think about, but you want to go ahead and keep track of that. So for me, I make my bed every morning. Right. I have done that for years and years. I even do it when I stay in a hotel. It's just the thing, right? I get up, um, and then we make the bed. And it's just something that makes me happy. I feel accomplished. I feel like I've done something. And it's just something I always do. But if I need a quick win, for that month, I will put it in my habit tracker so that I know that I can always check that off, right? So maybe it's something like that, or maybe it's taking your vitamins. You're really good about taking your vitamins, but you want that quick win. So also maybe we want to track things that we don't want to do. So I'm going to not go through the drive-through, right? And I'm going to kind of keep track of how many days I do not go through the drive-through, right? Like, make coffee at home, no Starbucks, or Dutch Bros, or whichever coffee place that you like to go to. And if you had a really nice set of habits in May and it worked really well and you love those, bring them forward. You don't have to come up with brand new things, right? Yeah, exactly. Courtney's like, my habits are the same from last month. Beautiful, right? It works for you. You've got them in here. You can track them. Don't think you have to come up with, the brand new things. Maybe you want to use flow as your focus. Maybe you want to pick a theme. Again, those habits from last month. Maybe it's some habits you can do and some that will be trickier. And you do not have to fill in every single line, right? So I had found this little kind of list of things to kind of think of as we're thinking of our habits. Things like sleep fixes more than you expect. So maybe I want to focus on my sleep. I want to get my 8 hours of sleep. 7.5 is good for me. So that's kind of what I focus on. But maybe you want to focus on that. You might need more, right? So maybe you want to focus on that. Eating on time steadies your mood. So maybe you want to set some specific meal times. Maybe it's water fixes more than quick fixes. Water helps more than quick fixes. So maybe you want to remind yourself to drink your water. Maybe walking clears your head. So I do have on mine walking for 15 minutes each day. What else is on here? Stretching eases built up tension. So maybe I want to remind myself to stretch. Quiet time clears noise. I'm going to give myself 5 minutes of meditation. Less caffeine improves sleep. I do not drink any caffeine after noon. It's like one of my hard, fast rules. And sometimes it's really hard, but boy, that really helps my sleep, right? And again, notice at the bottom, consistency makes all of this work, right? So really kind of thinking about what are maybe some habits you want to get into that consistent mode, and you want to kind of pop those in there for your habit tracker. You can see some people do very fancy pictures to kind of fill things in. Some people do a little more basic. I like to do this where you highlight the weekends. So you can see, are there some habits that are easier to do on the weekdays versus weekends and vice versa? What does that look like? Excuse me. Again, here's some other ways. You can see one person, they have 4 things on there and they're actually tracking their intentions, right? And I think that's a really interesting way. Like, did they kind of relook at their intentions? What did that look like as they were, for the month? Did they follow their intention? Did they honor their intentions? again, maybe it's, I like the one with the little frog right there. They've got the like that eat the frog idea, which is a book called Eat the Frog. So do the hardest thing first. They have a good morning checklist. They have some meds. They want to do some gratitude. They want to track their first meal. They want to do follow their bedtime routine checklist. Lots of different ideas to follow there. Um, I know someone posted in Sonder Club this month, they have a lemon theme. They redecorated their cover with pretty lemon stickers and all these really fun stickers. And then again, they kind of highlighted out their weekends and they've kind of decorated it up with their lemons. I love I don't have to do everything all at once. I have plenty of time to accomplish my goals. That also reminds me of the thing that I try to tell myself is I can do anything, but I can't do everything. Right. So reminding yourself, like, yes, you can do this, but are lemons the thing now? Lemons are trending. It's the new lemon. I'm fine with it because it's color. I am really not happy with all the minimalist black, white, gray. Bleh. So I love lemons. Some beautiful, beautiful yellow pops of yellow there. We've also got lots of ideas here for the habit tracker. Maybe you want to track felt like I was in my state of flow. Maybe I want to make sure that I laugh every day. I want to listen to a podcast every day. Lots of different ideas there. I wanted to show you one person. So we talk about the book club and the books. One person took a blank page and did the book. Our book club for May was Project Hail Mary, which I am not finished with. But they made like a little tracker. July, we're reading Theo of Golden. And I still haven't done our call for the correspondent, and now I need to schedule our call for Project Hail Mary. So I'll be sending out some messages on that. You didn't even, no, Nicole, it's fine if you didn't start, right? You can pick up with Theo Golden if you want, or you can do Project Hail Mary, like whatever, right? It's summertime now, so maybe some fun reading. So I will let you work on that just a few minutes here, play just a little bit of music, and then we'll check back in and we'll wrap things up, right? Okay. All right. Well, believe it or not, again, Even though we had extra time today, there were so many different things to talk about. We are at the end of our time. And so please feel free to share your planner if you feel comfortable. Share those extra sections, share those different sections. Share when you do something different with that. We love, you never know who you're going to inspire. We love, love, love to see all those different things. So, yeah, I know, Carly, I don't really understand how an hour and 15 minutes went by so fast. So we are going to say goodbye to May, thank it for the beautiful moments, and say hello to June. May it bring you an avalanche of health, wealth, and abundance. Yes, we definitely were in flow as we worked on that. I do want to mention really quick, Mayha is looking for feedback on the Silk and Sonder coach. So even if you don't have it, you can do, even if you have it, you can click on this link, do a little select a worry, goal, or personality reading, see how it looks, and then you can email her with some feedback. So Jennifer's going to pop some links in for that. Don't forget, we have our mid-year reset. We'll be reminding you of that. I hope to see you there. Again, when I say see you. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if you noticed, but we can do reactions in the chat. You might have to update your Zoom. But I saw some other people were able to do it. So I'm guessing it maybe is a Zoom update. So you might want to, after this, update Zoom and see if you can do that, because then you can do like little hearts and you can make specific comments to people, and it's super fun. So thank you all so, so very much for being here. It's so fun to hang out with you here on a Sunday morning. I'm going to go see a movie with my movie group. We have the whole theater reserved for all the knitters and movie things, and so we're all going to be sitting there knitting with our little neck lights, and it will be very fun. So again, thank you all so much. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and we are doing a weekly setup tonight. Jennifer O is going to do that. Maybe I will see you there. Take care, everyone. Have a good day.